today's ASMR video, in which we will be talking about some human body parts. First, the skeleton. Here on this picture we can see the human skeleton. Bones of the human skeleton are made of living tissue. They can feel pain. They bleed when cut, and they repair themselves if they break. Bones are not dry, but they are moist and flexible. Although smooth and solid on the surface, their insides are riddled with hollows to make them lighter. By weight, about 50% of bone is a white calcium-rich mineral called hydroxylapatite, which is also found in teeth. And this hard material gives bone the great strength it needs to support our body's weight. The adult human skeleton is made up of 206 bones. Babies are born with more than 300 bones. But some of these fuse together to form single bones as they get older. The largest bones are two thigh bones. Here. Which support the body's weight. The smallest bones are tiny ear bones, which are no bigger than grains of rice. Let us see which bones there are in a human body. First, here we can see a skull that protects the brain and houses the eyes and ears. The skull is made of several bones fused together. Here is the jawbone. The jawbone holds the lower teeth and connects by hinge joints to the skull. Then we have a backbone, also known as the vertebral column. The backbone is made of 33 round bones stacked together. These bones are collarbones. The horizontal bones that supports shoulder and arm. This is humerus, long bone that runs from the shoulder to the elbow. This is shoulder blade. The arm muscles are anchored to this flat triangular bone. Here we can see ribs, 12 pairs of ribs form a cage around the heart and the lungs. The ribs are joined to the middle of the chest by bars of stretchy cartilage that allow the chest to expand. %50 of the bones in the skeleton are in the hands and feet. This is pelvis. The large bones of the pelvis form a bowl shape supporting the body's internal organs. As we grow up, 5 of the bones in the spine fuse to form a large triangular bone called the sacrum. There are 54 bones in the hands. It is about a quarter of the body's total number of bones. carpals, then we have metacarpals, and here we can see phalanges. As I said before, the longest, heaviest, and strongest bone in the body is the thigh bone or femur. It makes up 1/4 of a person's height. Here is the knee. It is a kneecap and it is like a shield. Protects the knee joint. And the knee joint is the largest joint in the body. The knee works like a hinge, but also permits a certain amount of twisting. The lower leg has 2 bones. Shin bone, also called the tibia, which is the main bone, and the fibula, long, slender bone that lies alongside the bigger shin bone. Here is ankle. 7 bones called tarsals make up the ankle, which also contains 3 joints. And like in hand, here we have tarsals, metatarsals, and phalanges. At the end, here we see 2 and 3 toe bones. Here's the picture of the bone. We can see outer lining of the bone and what is inside. From bone marrow to this spongy material. To save weight, the inside of a bone is a honeycomb of spaces, forming a material called spongy bone. And solid outer layer is called compact bone. Large bones also have a hollow center filled with bone marrow tissue, where blood cells are made. All the red blood cells in the human body are made by the skeleton. this picture we can see a joint. Bones meet other bones at joints. In most joints, the bones don't touch each other, but are tied loosely together by tough straps of tissue that allow the bones to move. Joints give our skeleton flexibility. This is the bone. Here is bone marrow. And here is the fluid inside of the joint. And ligament that surrounds the joint. On these three pictures we can see what happens when we broke the bone. If bones break, the healing process begins immediately. First, a blood clot forms inside the break. Next, tough fibrous tissue grows across to strengthen the damaged area. And then compact bone replaces the spongy bone and damaged area is reshaped. On this picture, we can see the muscular system of the human body. More than 640 muscles are arranged in crisscrossing layers between the skin and bones of the skeleton. Most are attached to bones by tough straps called tendons. Muscles, tendons and bones work together like a system of levers. For example, when the biceps muscle in the upper arm contracts, it pulls on the bone in the forearm and bends the arm at the elbow. Most of the skeletal muscles are under voluntary control, which means we can move them at will. But some muscles, such as those in the heart and stomach are involuntary, and they work without our having to think. Altogether, there are billions of muscles in the human body, including microscopic muscles on every hair and blood capillary. 40% of our weight is muscle. We have 5 million hairs, and each hair has its own muscle. Let us see which muscles we have in our body. On our head, we have facial muscles. There are 43 muscles in our face, and we use them to eat, drink, speak, smile, laugh, and frown. Here is the neck muscle, which pulls down our jaw when we open our mouth. This is shoulder muscle. This triangular muscle raises the arm. Here is the biceps at the front of the upper arms. This big muscle is chest muscle. The biggest chest muscles are the two pectoralis majors or pecs. When we make push-ups or when we swim, we train this muscle. Here we can see the abs or rectus abdominis muscles that bend the lower spine and help to maintain posture. Well-developed abs are known as a six-pack. On our upper leg we have thigh muscle, a 4-part muscle called the quadriceps forms the front of the thigh, and it is one of the largest and most powerful muscle in the body. The quadriceps extend our leg when we walk, run, and jump. Here we can see tendons on our knee joint. These tendons anchor muscles to bones. On our lower leg we have calf muscle. And here we can see foot tendons. Skeletal muscles consists of bundles of muscle cells called muscle fibers. Our skin, which we can see on this big picture, is wrapped around the body like a protective overcoat, and it forms a barrier between the inside of our body and the outside world. Skin consists of two layers. The top layer, the epidermis, is mostly dead and provides protection. The epidermis is paper thin on the eyelids, but about a quarter of an inch or 5 millimeters thick on the soles of our feet. Under the epidermis is the dermis, a living layer riddled with blood vessels and nerves that can sense touch and pain. And under the dermis is a fat layer that traps warmth in the body and cushions the body against blows, and it also acts as an energy store. This is hair, and here is hair follicle that grows out of deep pits. Each hair has its own hair muscle that can pull it upright, causing a goosebump in the skin. This coil knot of tubes makes sweat. An area of skin the size of a postage stamp has about 500 sweat glands. They are going here epidermis, and here we can see sweat pore, and watery sweat is released from these small pores to cool the skin. This is nerve ending. Sensory nerves run into the epidermis. They can sense pain, heat, and cold. This is oil gland. This oil glands makes hair and the skin surface waterproof. We can see that epidermis has skin flakes. Dead cells fall off the skin as these flakes. This is dead skin. Cells harden and die in the middle of the epidermis. Human skin varies from pale to dark brown, and this color comes from an inky pigment called melanin, which is made by cells in the base of the epidermis. The top of the dermis is shaped into bumps called papillae or papillae, and this help bind the epidermis and dermis together. Here we can see blood vessels and nerves that carry electrical signals from touch and pain receptors to the brain. This is a picture of our finger, and here we can see fingernail. Fingernails improve the delicate sense of touch in our fingertips by creating counter pressure when we touch or hold something. They also help us grip very tiny objects. The top part of a nail, the blade, is made of dead cells packed solid with a tough protein, keratin. Underneath the plate is the living nail bed, a special type of skin that produces nail cells rather than ordinary epidermis cells. The nail bed contains the most rapidly dividing cells in the human body. Like nails, hairs are made of dead cells packed with keratin. They grow from living roots in the base of pits called follicles. A typical hair grows for 2 or 3 years, after which its blood supply is cut off and the root dies. New hair then starts growing and pushes the old one out. We shed 50 to 100 old hairs every day. Every 30 days, we grow a whole new outer layer of skin. And 30,000 skin flakes fall off our skin in every minute. And the last part of today's session will be about blood of the human body. Blood is the body's transport system. It carries food, oxygen, hormones, heat, and other vital resources to every living cell in our body. And also, blood is taking away waste. About 20% of our blood flow goes to our brain. Here we can see jugular vein, this large vein in the neck carries blood from the head to the heart. Blood leaves our heart in vessels called arteries that are shown in the red, which then divide into finer and finer branches. And then it passes through tiny vessels called capillaries, where it releases nutrients and collects waste. Then capillaries join to form larger vessels called veins that are shown in blue which take blood back to the heart. And the heart is a muscular pump that pushes blood around our body. Aorta is thick as our thumb and is the body's largest artery. The largest vein is called vena cava, and it carries blood back to the heart. It is the picture of large blood vessel, artery, that carry blood away from our heart. And they have strong muscular walls that stretch as blood surges past with each heartbeat. After stretching, arteries shrink back to normal size, which helps push the blood along. And here is blood vessel that carry blood back to the heart. They are called veins, and they have thinner walls than arteries, because the force of the heartbeat is much weaker in veins. Veins use one-way valves to keep blood flowing. And microscopic blood vessels called capillaries carry blood between arteries and veins. There are thousands of miles of capillaries running through almost every part of the body. And their very thin walls allow oxygen and nutrients to pass out of the blood into body tissue, as well as allowing waste to enter the blood. Total length of blood vessels in the human body is about 100,000 kilometers or 60,000 miles. Blood is a living tissue consisting of about 20 trillion tiny living cells floating in a yellowish liquid called plasma. And plasma is mainly water. But it also contains hundreds of vital substances that our body tissues need to stay alive, such as salt, sugar, fat, and protein. average adult has about 5 liters of blood. There are 3 main types of blood cells. By far, the most numerous are red blood cells, and they have the task of collecting oxygen in our lungs and releasing it everywhere else in our body. White blood cells roam through the body, hunting for germs and destroying them. And platelets cells are tiny cell fragments that help blood to clot when our body is injured. Every second, about 2 million of our red blood cells die, and 2 million new ones are made. And new blood cells are made in the bone marrow, a soft, fat-rich tissue found inside hollow bones. With this, we will conclude today's session. Thank you for your attention and good night.